Okay, perfect. So we are here starting a community, Prateek. Welcome. You will be the first guest of our community. The community is called CCC, which is Creative Community of Cognizance, and possibly episode one, I would say. And the goal of this community would be to bring artists, designers, musicians, anybody who's in a creative field to
Absolutely.
bring them together online for now, but very highly likely that things are gonna tumble into the real world very soon. So today we have Prateek, my lovely colleague from UID. I met him at UID, and
Yeah.
it was a great interaction when we were just like walking down the path, just going to our respective uh,
Mostly in the mornings when everyone is running,
exactly when
we would
everyone is
cross paths.
running. And he's a fashion designer, I would say, but he's also into styling, if I'm not wrong, and he's also into teaching. He's currently an educator, but has and always will have love for making own designs, having his own collection, and like we talked about, he would also love to possibly have his own brand or maybe like his own collection studio one day, and so that is great. um, but yeah, here I am, Pratik. How about if you want to say something before I start the questions?
It's wonderful. I'm so thrilled to be the first person, and I think it's a wonderful thing that you've started. We needed some sort of a platform which is not affiliated by any university or any big, conglomerate where you have to talk in certain boundaries. So it's a platform for untamed communication and ideas
Mhm.
on design, art, and everything which connects them. So it's a wonderful thing, and it's high time that we have a space like this and connect. Let's connect with everyone.
Yeah, let's. The world is gonna look back and be like, "Oh, Pratik, you were the first guest. Wow, that must be awesome."
Yeah.
So, my first question to you would be that growing up, were you always envisioning yourself as a designer, or that is something that came to you eventually?
Well, growing up, I didn't even know that there is something called a designer, but I think every human in a certain way can be a designer, like a mother, how she takes random objects from the house and how she manipulates that object and utilizes it in different ways. I would even say design thinking can be like a grandma taking cookie box and turning it into their sewing supply kit. So certain similar things like we look at Kantha, the embroidery from Bengal,
Mhm.
which was ladies in the household took old cloth
Mhm.
and layered it, and then they embroidered it with running stitches to make the cushion, the pillow for a
Mhm.
newborn baby.
Wow.
So the old fabric has its softness. There's a lot of functionality with it.
Mhm.
So they are designers knowingly or unknowingly, I tell you a very funny thing I recently got to know. And with this, I'll tell you how mothers sometimes can cheat. Like they can mothers can cheat their child, but they're cheating it for the benefit of the child only. So I hated vegetables like ghea, tindi, tori, those sort of veggies I would never eat
Mhm.
ever.
Mhm.
But I loved the pulao my mother used to make. So
Ooh.
one day, what she did, she grated the ghea in such fine manner and put it in my rice while cooking, just like onion, which created such a magical flavor in the rice. that for tens of years I did not know that there was ghee in my rice, and I would just eat, like I would lick the plate. I would tell my mother how beautiful that rice is. When I'm abroad, I would call my mother and I would cry that I'm missing the rice, and through FaceTime she would tell me how to make it, but she would never tell me about ghee. And always my rice would taste different, like really bad. And so recently I went to my parents' house and I requested my mother that please, I'm dying to eat that rice. Can we make it together? She's like, yeah, I will do something and then I'll do my secret thing. I'm like, how can you have secret? Come on. Like, this is something you make and I love. You're my mother, and this is something I'm gonna take with me forever. Like, the most joyful food for me is my mother's rice. So I said, no, you tell me. She's like, after that, if I tell you, you will never eat. I said, no, no, there's nothing you can tell me which will not make me eat that rice, because the smell gets me mad. If I'm sleeping, I'm in a deep sleep. My mother wants to wake me up. She needs to just cook the rice. And so she said, yeah, I put some ghee in it. I'm like, crazy. That is you cheating me for tens of years, but you made me realize that my own perception on certain things were vague, were not so relevant because it tasted fabulous. She said that once she didn't have ghee and she didn't put it in the rice, and I even asked her, why doesn't the rice taste so good today? She said, because I didn't put ghee in it. You really love ghee. So I think there comes a designer in my mother's sense that she wanted her child to have a certain nutrient which she believed was channelized through these particular veggies, but I didn't want to eat them, so she found a creative way to make me consume it without make me realize or have a different sense of taste for it. So your question was like growing up, if I was looking to be a designer. I don't know about that, but I was making garments for my dolls, and I had dolls like since I was, say, 5 years old. I had dolls. I had cars, I had dolls, I had superheroes, I had everything. Like I had the boy kind of toys, I had the toys reserved for girls, which should not be the case
Yeah.
traditionally. But traditionally, there are those demarcation when a boy child, a male child is born, they gift the child or the parents certain toys. When a girl child is born, even the color sense with
Yeah.
that. So with me, it was not like that. I was given dolls, I was given cars, I was given guns, I was given whatever I needed. So luckily, I was very lucky. And my mother was so supportive in making clothes for my doll, like some unconventional things. I still have certain garments which I made in my childhood. And even today, I look at them and I think, wow, what a wonderful thing. Like um, growing up, I forgot about about my own work, and I didn't have so much respect for my own work because I used to think of them as naive, childish. But today, after growing up, when I look at it, I'm like, यार उस समय पर उस बच्चे की जो मानसिक क्षमता थी, उसके हिसाब से क्या लाजवाब चीज बनाया है.
Truly.
Whatever the sources, resources, capabilities the child had, the child put it all through, and it wonders me, like my own work, even other people's. Especially after teaching, I've realized when I look at my own students' work, I realize what they did in the first semester with me, what did they did in the fourth semester with me, how they have grown up, and um, I love their work from their first semester. I love their work from their fourth semester as well, because I'm not judging it. I'm empathizing with it, empathizing with how they were in that moment when they created it. So, yeah,
Wow.
that's what it is.
And that would kind of bring me to like from what you said. So you said your mom had a special ingredient, the ghee, right? That
Yeah.
you didn't know was in it, but you kind of made. Uh, as long as you didn't know it was in it, you loved the outcome, and then eventually, when you found out, you were like, "Oh, I guess I do love ghee." So
Yeah, and I
If
still love the outcome.
and you
Like,
still love the outcome.
so that day I grated ghee from my own hands, and my mother was giving me step by step instructions because I'm very choosy when it comes to
Mm,
food, and I wouldn't complain about food. I'm
mm,
traveling a lot, different universities I'm visiting, so different cities. So everywhere the food is very different. I'm all of a sudden in a 30-degree temperature, dry area, and all of a sudden I sit in a box and I fly to, let's say, 17 degrees temperature with
mhm,
rains.
mhm.
So the food also changes with the culture, and wherever I'm going, I'm so sometimes not able to adapt to the food
To the food
available.
and the, yeah.
So yeah, so the outcome was also fabulous after the revelation. It is, I think, acceptance
Yeah.
that denial has to go away. Oh yeah, okay, I do love Kia. But maybe not in the sabzi form, but maybe exactly like how my mother made it.
Yes.
So yeah,
So, yeah, the question that I was coming up to is that do you feel that that design per se, or like especially fashion design, also has sometimes that secret ingredient? So I'll tell you what I have often done, or like in industrial design or any kind of design, I would say that a lot of times we are getting inspired from other
yeah,
people's work, and I think that is completely healthy. You should not demonize being like, oh, why did you take inspiration? You should, and it's okay. A lot of times we as practitioners are also faking it till we make it, if that makes sense. Like we,
yeah, it does.
yeah, we believe that we know where it's going, but sometimes it doesn't. But if I had to give you the stage, would you also say that there is that kind of secret ingredient that gets the design going?
Yeah, I mean, see, I don't know if we call it secret though,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it is something I learned from my teacher, Papia Banerjee, when I was in third semester,
Mm-hmm.
second year, and that's when we focused on fashion. And when Papia came in our life, she came like a storm. Like not just me, whole class, each of my classmates. Even today, I love the fact that there were three sections, 30 students roughly in each. So 90 people were taught by Papia at a time. And even today, we all support each other's work. We look at it and we see that there is something challenging there. That ingredient is your own unique self. So if I look at trend, if I hunt for inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take an inspiration. I want to be inspired.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm inspired, I go forward and I do it. But if I think, oh yeah, this topic seems very hot, and if I take it today, my collection might look in more intellectual. I may be able to talk more. It's more relevant. It's all calculative. So I don't do that. I mean, many people do that, and that's also fine. I think there are different ways to do a certain thing and project yourself out there. But to us, Papia told us was to be yourself. If I'm myself, then it's anyway gonna be unique because there's no one else exactly like me. So I don't have to focus on being unique, just to be different. I do something, no. I do something for myself. It's anyway naturally by default gonna be different
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't everyone is different. So if someone else takes the same topic, still their realization, their emotions, their connect or their output is going to be different than mine. There's so many multiple layers and factors involved. What it is what are the attributes or characteristics which makes you as you, and how does that reflect into your creation? So I have learned my secret, I wouldn't say because I tell this to my students on the first day of my class and almost every class, that trust your instinct. Um, Trust if sometimes you're breaking some rules, that's okay. As far as your eyes tells, my another director, Patrick, he was director of the program at St. Martin's in London, where I studied pattern cutting. Patrick used to tell me that nothing in the world will tell you what is right and wrong better than your own eyes. Your eyes will tell you. Sometimes the measurement is correct. The diagram, the pattern, the flat pattern is correct. Measuring wise, everything is correct. Still does not fit the body.
Hmm.
Sometimes the pattern measures wrong, looks absolutely atrocious, looks absolutely bizarre, yet it fits the body, means the pattern is correct. So it's your eyes. You one has to trust their own self, their own instincts. मेरी आंख बताती है कि ये balanced लग रहा है या imbalanced है. Now that balance का definition will be different from person to person. Some people may work with symmetric, some people may work with some asymmetry. Asymmetry also will be very different from people to people. Some people would want it to still balance out in chunk. There are some fashion designers like Yoji Yamamoto, V Kawakubo, the Japanese. When they went abroad, Paris, when they showed their collections, the world started saying disproportion, that they have calculated the disproportion and created it. They have served disproportion. So proportions were the conventional proportions which were people were used to, but when someone breaks that, they call it disproportion, but that is also proportion of a certain kind.
Truly.
So
So,
it's the instinct. There's no secret. The secret is instinct, and there is no shortcuts. Please stay up whole night if students are listening. आप 4-4 6-6 घंटा काम करोगे, तब कुछ जाकर एक ऐसा चीज क्लिक होगा जो आप कहोगे 6 घंटे का काम मैं फेंक देता हूँ. लेट मी बिगिन समथिंग विद द आइडिया आई हैव रीच्ड ऑन टू.
yeah.
So, and that one will take you forward, like it has happened to me.
Wow. I I love this that you said कि it is okay to trash your work अगर नहीं हो रहा है, and if it's gone, and if you know that continuing that path will lead you down, then I think it's okay to trash my work. Reminds me of like when I had to present my work at my university, and there was like a week left, and it was like a month long studio course.
Yeah.
And that week, I realized that this project is trash. The place where it's going, it's trash. And I literally discarded that idea a week before. And then I began. It didn't work out, okay. But at least I tried. No, I didn't present the trash work. And also, something that brings to my mind is like the quote that Patrick said, like, your eyes would tell you. Is
Your
this.
eyes are the best judge. They will
Yeah,
tell you if your form is correct or not.
yeah.
कभी कभी अगर आप इलस्ट्रेटर इन डिजाइन पे काम कर रहे हो, अगर आप उसको बिल्कुल सेंट्रल अलाइन कर दिया फोटो को,
Yes,
विजुअली वो सेंट्रल नहीं फील होता है. हमारी आंखों को आदत नहीं है.
exactly.
थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे आपको करना होता है. फॉर योर आईज टेल्स
Yes.
यू what the not the measurements
No.
all the time.
That's the point I was coming to. So a lot of people might know or might not know that the Sony logo, especially like the way typography works, the Sony logo is not aligned in the sense that you would think it is. Like the S is kind of taller than the O, and things are weird. Like spacing is weird, but
I mean, ESPN,
ESPN.
for a long time, like from my childhood till I think when I went to college, I didn't understand the logo of ESPN. वो E and S together, it looks like a curve. जो
Yeah.
हिंदी का अक्षर होता है curve. And I used to say, think, what is this? Why is the logo say कर ta? ESPN, the ta becomes ta, and Devanagari I see in it, and later on, when I studied it better, then I realized, oh, that is ESPN. Sorry, ESPN, I cannot read you.
We have those like unique visuals that stuck to our, be like, okay, that's what I see, and you cannot take it out. No, I love that you brought that up, and that brings me to like one of the next question, which not only students have, but professionals have it too. So when we start our work, do we aim to be unique, or does the work itself land us in a place where we are unique? If that makes any sense.
The work does not land you anywhere. You have to land yourself
Okay.
into the work. Unique. See, I tell you about myself. Papia, over now it's been more than 15 years that I know her, and even today she's my guru. And whenever I'm stuck, I do call her sometimes. Rarely it happens, but sometimes I've called her post midnight when I cannot sleep and I am having deep thoughts about something, and I think there's only ways to, have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, Papia has done some magic to my classmates and me that we never strive to be unique. I don't care if I'm unique or
Mm-hmm.
not. I don't care if people think I'm unique or not. I'm just me.
Mm-hmm.
And by default, being just myself, my work ends up becoming original. It's I some forms I look at it today, and I'm really proud. I'm really lucky that I had the opportunity to create them. That they happened through me,
Mm-hmm.
through my hands, through my mind. Um, I feel lucky that way that it has its own identity,
Mm-hmm.
but I have worked on that identity and I've tried to only put myself in it. I didn't want to become like this one or that one. I do get inspired. I'm hyperly inspired. I love Yoji Yamamoto.
Mm-hmm.
He's my favorite designer in the world. Like, if my mother wouldn't kill me, I would love to tattoo Yoji's name. Like, I used to think I'll shave one eyebrow and get Yoji signature tattooed. So whenever I want to cover it, I can let the eyebrow grow back. And
Right then.
so but I don't have any tattoos on my body. I don't like permanent things.
Mm-hmm.
But Yoji is someone I respect so much. I am inspired. I think subconsciously, I also borrow my instincts somewhere from Yoji, somewhere from my teachers, like Patrick's words, the eyes will make you trust. When he said that, I remember how what was on my mannequin. I remember the emotion I was going through at that time. So whenever I'm in that situation again in front of my mannequin and certain emotion, it kicks those moments back,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow that really helps. But never trying to be unique. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is never my purpose. Usha Uttap,
Yeah,
the singer.
the singer. Yeah.
So there's a on YouTube.
Mm.
There's a conversation. I think Ink Talks or something where she sings as well as she talks. She said she never cared if people said you sing like this one or that one or Frank Sinatra or Shelley Bercy in a sari. She didn't care because she said all people like or want is connect. If they think I sound like someone else, if they can remember someone else, if I can bring that joy to them, I can connect them. So that is also another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the practice of forcing to be unique has to go away.
Okay.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's not try to change ourselves to fit in with the non-fitters.
Perfect.
Like, let me be unique.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who all are unique. Let's see what all of those people are doing to be unique. Let me try a gimmick. No, let's not. I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, other people are doing it, but I'm not doing that. My teacher, the school of thoughts I
Mm-hmm.
come from, didn't believe in that. It
Mm-hmm.
just believed in joy of creating. कुछ भी बनाओ, मजे से बनाओ, मस्त होकर बनाओ, अपना झलक उसमें दिखना चाहिए. एक तरह से for me creation is like puja,
Yeah.
like believing in God. Collection is a very important thing. I mean, I think my dharma as a designer is to make a collection, just like for Van Gogh it was to make a painting.
Mm-hmm.
Papia used to say that Van Gogh colored the grass green when he could afford the green crayon. Like, as he got the money for the green crayon, he made the grass.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was his dharma, if it was um, um, you know Charlotte Bronte's dharma to write her books, if it was Tagore's dharma to do all the
Hmm.
things we inherit from him today. I think my dharma is to create a collection.
Hmm.
That is my way of expressing myself. That is my way of telling the world what I feel about it. So I don't mind if it's not unique, or if it is unique, it's just me.
Hmm.
It's just my expression. आपको लगता है किसी और से मिलता है, so I'm happy, I would love to meet that person and become friends with them. आपको लगता है कि किसी से नहीं मिलता है, बहुत यूनिक है, I'm also happy with that.
Perfect. Yeah, I love, absolutely love what you mentioned वहाँ पे. I think it's the perfect answer कि a lot of times, not only, again, this is not for students, it's for any practitioner. You feel like that's your favorite designer, let me like do something like him. Let me get into that gimmicky mindset. कि अच्छा, if I do this that way, it will probably be popular, or be a design that
Absolutely.
marks the world. But the funny thing is that anytime you go that path, it will only leave a mark, as in, oh, it looks like that person. It will never be
But But
like
I have a question for you.
oh wow, okay.
So something very similar based on the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, when we do research,
Hmm.
whenever we have a design project,
Hmm.
there's a design brief,
Hmm.
and we do research. We also do case studies.
Case studies,
Yeah.
yeah.
When we are doing, why do we do case studies? We do case studies to imbibe, no, to imbibe certain aspects.
Hmm.
So if I'm doing case study of Cristobal Balenciaga or Yuji Yamamoto or Rick Owens, subconsciously it is gonna affect me. Actually, I'm reading it to get affected.
Yeah.
I'm reading it to learn from them,
Hmm.
um, because they have already done it
Hmm.
and done it in a certain way, and I have certain respect for their work. So I want to take that sanskar, I would
Hmm.
call them. Those are sanskars, like their choice of color, their form. To me, that's sanskar. That
Hmm.
is the values. वो अंग्रेजी में वैल्यू बोलकर उसको वेट थोड़ा कम हो जाता है.
Hmm.
But when I say sanskar, it becomes an innate part of your philosophy,
Hmm.
your way of thinking on life. So somehow, while we do research, we contaminate ourselves. No, we
Yeah.
get information from the world to get affected by it. तो उसके अंदर खेलना है. And for professionals, those who are working under a rigid design brief, like the boss has said this or the client has said this, the box, you remember we were talking a few days ago about the box as
The
well.
yes.
Like, why do I have to think out of box? You think out of box. I'm gonna paint the whole, all the walls of my box, make it my world. And every time it's gonna be a new world because I can keep on painting my walls. So I am not even limited in a box. Why my expression of freedom has to be out of box? I can even make a box become free for me.
Hmm.
I can make it my world. And so the box here is the design brief. The box here is the client brief. What is expected? Ultimately, you're not creating art, you're creating design,
Yeah.
which is also having a certain functionality, a certain purpose. It has to go somewhere, it has to be applied somewhere. So yeah, there are gonna be constraint. That constraint is the box. Within that constraint, I can still do thousands of things. Like within the box, sky is the limit.
Truly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, that box somehow is again like demonized. Be like, oh, don't think in the box. But I agree that the box is not small at all. There are innumerous possibilities within that brief itself, and that's a place where you can be unique too, right? Just how you mentioned, like, oh, that's a place where you can shine. Ki now that I have something to limit myself, I can then let go of myself, because now all of my thoughts are gonna be like, okay, if it fits that, great. If it doesn't, why? If it fits that, and then you can
Absolutely.
you can get somewhere. No, totally. um so
So why do we do case studies? Like, what do you think?
yeah, it so what I have told my students, or the way I used to think about case studies, for me, it has always been a backup plan. So I'll I'll tell you how I perceive it. If you feel like you know where you're going, do it. Go where you want to go. Do what you want to do perfect. If you don't feel like, how do I take the first step? Or what do I do now? Or what am I missing? These are the paths that you can always trace again to then lead to where you want to be. And so that's how I treat case studies or guidelines, as um, in case I falter, in case people talk about creative blocks, right, where people don't know what to do or how to approach that, creativity can also be sometimes curated talent. It sometimes you do have those days where you have a brief, where you have all your knowledge, yet you still falter as into how do I go about this, and that's where somebody else's path or their tools might help you. So that's how,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's how I treat case studies. As in, if students who are new do not know where to go, they have these certain neural pathways to be like, okay. So it's in a way, wherever you might be, you know कि घर का नंबर क्या है या आपके फ्रेंड का नंबर
Absolutely.
क्या है. So you can just trace that path and be like, okay, I am somewhere where I can be satisfied.
So it can be a safety
A
net.
safety net, truly.
But that is one thing. But also, um, when we do case studies, what's the word? Um, anyway,
Hmm.
I was saying that, for example, someone is appointed at Zaha Hadid,
Yeah,
architects.
yeah.
Now, let's say I'm going to make work with Zaha Hadid architects,
Hmm.
like at the office. I'm gonna be one of the junior architects.
Yeah.
I will do case study of Zaha's work,
Hmm.
like in such depth that it starts. I start living it. I start eating it for relevance.
Yeah.
That relevance is also very important, and somehow research and case studies, they they are anchor points, they are your safety nets, as well as they are guiding anchors
Hmm.
and make it relevant,
Hmm.
because again it's a product in the end which goes
Hmm.
into somewhere it has a purpose. So that relevance is also somewhere, I think,
Truly.
quite quite a reason for extensive research. Why
Hmm.
is research methodology, research practices,
Hmm.
techniques are taught throughout? I think when we were students, it used to be less.
Less,
Like,
yeah.
we didn't have so many modules
Hmm.
on design thinking or research, one or two module, and that's that. Today, I think it has gone more.
Yeah.
Like, more modules are there. I think many multiple semesters have those sort of modules, because the world is also moving more towards also that hyper commercialization of things.
Yeah. I hate that. Yeah.
India becoming one of the manufacturing powers as it is projected, with those industrial corridors are created. So there's a lot of product will be created. A lot of companies will be setting up. A lot of people will be filling some shoes,
Hmm.
and creating things. For those purposes, maybe one may not be as creative
Hmm.
as they would be in a different setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're working with human lives,
Hmm.
you're making products which will be used at a huge scale.
Hmm.
So, scalability, ease of production, those parameters take over then the creative,
Yes.
emotional, poetic aspect.
I I love that you bring that point, because it becomes much more methodical, right? It becomes as if it's a surgical field where you have to do this and then you get that. And uh, I do not like the emphasis on research methodology as much as it has become now, because when I was told to teach the course on research methodology, fortunately somebody else took it over. But I remember that my first instinct was to ask students, okay, if you have to research this, how would you do it? And I think a lot of these like shadowing techniques, or like what do they call it, the upper, there's another name, affinity mapping, all of
Sure.
those techniques, I feel like should be a safety net and not a norm that you follow. Because I remember after the research methodology course ended and I got to
Yeah.
see the works of people, again, amazing research, no doubt about it, but it felt like the research was eaten and not digested, if it makes any sense. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, it just, okay, these are the things you do, okay, great, and these are the things I did, okay, great, and the digestion never happened. And I feel like if us as people, let's say, a simple, I'll tell you a very simple example. If you want to see like a carpenter, if you want to see how he makes his tables, or even
Yeah.
as simple as like someone who cuts wood, right? If you want to learn how he cuts wood, you will just go and observe every day, probably see like, okay, what angle he hits it and blah 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 blah. Uh, but but will never be approached like, okay, he hits it at 45 angle or whatever that might be. You would just kind of observe and absorbing the information that is laid in front of you, and you are researching
Yeah.
actively in that moment. But your goal is not to note it down on a piece of paper so that you
Yeah.
can show it to your faculties ki maine ye dekha. And that goal, to me, somewhere it itches, that the goal should never be ki I put it on a beautiful chart and this is what I learned. I think it could be presented in a way that we are talking right now, that if it is digested, you will very easily be able to be like, okay, I can do it now because I know what it feels like. So maybe research can fill in the gaps where it is lacking. But on your question, and again, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
it can never it can never be कि यही करो.
Absolutely.
I would love for students, practitioners, or professionals to go ham, be like, do the research the way you want to be. And it's funny that we don't allow students or young minds to do that, but then we ask them to study the people who have done that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Be like, oh, but
Yeah.
that guy broke the boundary, so you can break the boundary now. But he was already trying to break the boundary in the first step. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that would be my answer on that, if it satisfies your question.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's also, when students are introduced to research methodologies, it's their first trial.
Hmm.
It's just their, so they may be able to eat it, may not be able to digest it,
Yeah.
but at least once they taste it,
Hmm.
they know what it is.
Yeah.
And eventually, during internships or afterwards when they work, you learn to adapt
Yeah.
and apply your research in a certain way. So today, I don't focus so much on the research. Okay, yeah, if I'm particular technique I'm working with, I would do research on that.
Hmm.
But if there's an emotion,
Hmm.
I will not go and do a research. I would feel. I'll bring the mood from within.
Hmm.
So my focus, also fashion is more about feeling through the
Hmm.
garments. Um, so my majorly in my process, my research, if we may call it, would be about fabric techniques.
Hmm.
If I'm making the fabric, then who are the artisans, what are the craft, what's their heritage, what are the motives, so that I don't disrespect that particular tradition, I don't do cultural appropriation, I in a responsible manner collaborate with them. And it has to be right collaboration.
Hmm.
But majorly when it comes to building concepts, then I would sit down alone without internet or any information. That has to come from here, from
Hmm.
what you're feeling.
Hmm.
Like, what does melancholia mean for me would be very different from what it means for you or for someone else.
Hmm.
So if I'm chasing mine, which is actually also formed, uh, based on subconscious research.
Yeah.
It's growing up, the kind of movies we have seen.
Mhm.
Not everyone likes the same sad songs, but everyone likes certain sad songs,
Yeah.
but not the same ones.
No.
Because everyone's sadness is also different.
Mhm.
Everyone's formation of those ideas since childhood, we have been accumulating so much of mood essence. So उसको टटोलना होता है
Yeah.
from within. So that is what I focus in my practice. Instead of, I do keep a track on what's happening around the world,
Mhm.
in Paris, Milan, biggest fashion weeks. I do keep a tap on it. I look at it and then I close it. Like, I don't want to remember or go so deep into it, because I know if I give so much attention to it, I will end up seeing it on my mannequin, something similar. Subconsciously आपका एस्थेटिक उसी डायरेक्शन में डेवलप होने लग जाता है.
Yeah.
सो यू हैव टू प्रोटेक्ट योर सेल्फ ऑल्सो, कि ट्रेंड इज अ वेरी अगली थिंग. Like Yoji Yamamoto said, trend is like air. You cannot escape it. You're breathing air. You you're breathing you're being part of the environment. So it's very hard for you to not let yourself be polluted by
Mhm.
it. And I'm saying all of these things. There's a possibility I might end up making something trendy tomorrow to sell. you know
As you said, it is hard to escape, and then that is also a lovely discussion on what a lot of students also asked during some of the sessions, that should we consciously try to break trends, if that makes any sense? Like, should we
Yeah.
consciously try to be trendsetters, or be like, okay, if this is a trend, let me like look the other way, like what's not in the
I
trend?
mean, I do this. I always try
Yeah.
to look the other way. Also, I think my classmates, like all Papia kids, we call ourselves tribe of Papia. So all the tribal Papia kids, we learn to deny
Hmm.
from a very young, design education's um, young beginning.
Hmm.
We learn to deny, especially deny what is prevalent, what is convention.
Hmm.
So convention is something I personally hate. I
Hmm.
would use a very strong word. I think convention is it's opposite of who I am,
Hmm.
or who I want to be, or even aspire to be. I wouldn't want to have a life where I do things just because everyone does it too.
Hmm.
Makes no sense. That everyone does not make sense to me. Everyone once upon a time believed that the earth is the center of the universe.
Yeah.
So that convention is something. So we always deny. If there is a trend, I find it very cringe to even look at it, like thinking about, oh yeah, this is really trendy, let's put this in my collection. Let's do, there was a time when Demna Gavasali at Balenciaga did Crocs, high heel Crocs.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
some brands around the world started picking up on it. And other people also started doing Crocs with different deconstruction of
Hmm.
it. But no, I find it very cringe. I wouldn't want to do that. Although certain things which are trendy need not be wrong. Not all trends are cringe or tabooed in my head. Few things which touches my heart, I have no shame of borrowing them, applying them. I give due respect and credit to those who did it first, and if it aligns with my thought, I may take it forward in my own way. Like, I am a I'm a couture designer. So I have studied couture in my master's. Um, so there's a process which I have, is unique, is my own, which is borrowing elements from my entire life, from my childhood till today, from what my mother taught me, what my father taught me, to what my teachers taught me, to what my friends taught me, to what the books I've read taught me, to the movies which have taught me. So elements from my entire life has been part of my process of
Mm-hmm.
creating um, conceptual couture collections. And when I'm doing that, couture does not follow trend.
Mm-hmm.
So a couturier does not think about following or setting trend. I don't want to set trend. I don't need to prove things to other people. Yes, there are people who might have aspiration कि I want to be the trend setter. Why not? आपका मन है आप करो यार आराम से करो. I'll support you. I'll clap for you if you do it well. But that's not my purpose. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we were talking about like how 30s change your
The way,
perception,
yeah.
like 20s to 30s, the shift changes. So your goal also changes. You realize your definition of success has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Your definition of peace has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Your definition of what makes you happy has evolved. I wouldn't say completely changed, but evolved
Mm-hmm.
maybe few folds.
Yeah.
So, so that is happening. So today it's not about trend as much. It's not also I consciously try to avoid trend
Mm-hmm.
and deny them and put a horse blind around me
Mm-hmm.
कि मुझे दिख भी ना जाए मुझे pollute ना करे. बट जब वो फिल्टर होकर कुछ pollute करता भी है उसमें अगर कुछ छू जाता है then I'm okay to accept it. I'm okay to bring it into my process also. If it has reached me after me closing all the doors at its face, then I think it deserves to,
Deserves.
become a part somewhere.
Yeah. And I love that you shared what your purpose is, and that is something that was always my goal because we cannot speak for the collective, right? Like we cannot be like ye mat karo ya ye karo, and um, us educators, at least when I was an educator, I feel like there was a lot of power on hand where you could drive the design almost like maybe like of 60 students, yes, but you never know how many other minds those 60 people are then impacting. So I like the way that you approached it. Ki this is what I feel that the purpose is of the trend setting. And honestly, it brings me to a funny question. If we should even discuss it or not, because that was always in the air, the AI thing. And
I
oh
think we
my
should
god.
definitely we should discuss everything. So this collective which has begun, nothing is taboo, and we should be able to. We are educated people. We are the present. I
Yeah,
wouldn't even say future of the world. We are the present of the world.
truly.
2026. So we should be able to talk about every possible thing. I'm so glad with AI coming into our lives. I think it's a great human achievement
Mm-hmm.
to understand intelligence to a level that it can be applied with machines in such a manner that it enables and empowers people.
Mm-hmm.
आई थिंक इट इज जस्ट अ टूल. पता है जब बहुत पहले सबसे पहले कैमरास आए होंगे तो
Mm-hmm.
लोगों ने कहा होगा अब तो पेंटिंग कोई बनाएगा ही नहीं.
Yeah,
नाउ इट्स सो इंस्टेंट दैट वी आर गोना क्लिक पिक्चर्स. दैट्स इट्स जस्ट द मीडियम हैज चेंज.
yeah,
पेंटिंग तब भी बनते रहे आज भी बनते हैं. उनका इनफैक्ट उनका वैल्यू और ज्यादा अप्रिशिएट हो गया और बढ़
yeah.
गया उनका मतलब और समझ में आ गया. वहां पर फिर हाथ के काम की कीमत को लोगों ने और पहचानना शुरू किया. Whereas photography, when it initially came, it must have been more documentary
Yeah.
photography. But eventually, that also became another artistic expression.
Mm-hmm.
Now, photography became a tool through which you can express and capture and do almost. It is basically painting with light,
Mm-hmm.
so
Truly.
similarly AI is very similar. It's new. That's why a lot of people have this fear that, oh, अब तो AI कर लेता है तो designers का क्या रहेगा. I I use AI. I generate visuals with AI. I work with my chat GPT. I've trained my chat GPT. I do things by hand also. I combine them.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll tell you, I'm slightly dyslexic since my childhood, and I think dyslexia is since childhood. I'm not sure because हमारे ज़माने में तारे ज़मीन पर नहीं आई थी, तो हमें मार मार के पढ़ाया जाता था और हम
Okay.
रोते रोते पढ़ लेते थे. तो अभी भी कभी कभी my name is Prateek, but
Yeah.
sometimes instead of P, I used to write nine. Instead of P,
Wow.
nine हमारे TEEK. So things used to happen. अभी बहुत control में हो गया है because बहुत मेहनत किया. I can read very well. I can write well also, I think. Um, D and G still I make a lot of mistakes. Even on typing on the computer, I make mistakes with D and G. Like I exchange them. But I have a bigger limitation as a designer is my 2D drawing and 2D rendering by hand. मेरे को 3D sculpt करना is easy for me.
Yes.
Draping on the mannequin is easy for me, but drawing it on the paper, my brain does not work that way. If I'm drawing the front of the garment, my brain find it very hard to imagine the back.
Yeah.
My brain find it very hard to draw it correctly to
Mhm.
so that it completes the design.
Mhm.
Whereas when I'm exploring directly on the dress form, when I'm sculpting, I'm able to do 10 times better.
Mhm.
So, what I do now with AI, how it helps me, when I have a rough drape, I click a picture, or if I have a rough sketch, I upload the sketch. I direct it to render it. I tell it what fabric I'm assuming. I'm telling it the color. भाई मेरे से पेंसिल कलर्स के साथ उसको रियलिस्टिक डेनिम बनाने का पेशेंस नहीं है मेरे पास. Because I have certain issue in my brain.
Yeah.
I have tried. It's not like I've not tried. I'm a designer. I've started studying design since what 2008 9, pre-design school, then college, then working, master's certificate, then master's degree. So I've studied over so long, and every time I am in a college environment and I'm studying, I'm forced to draw. I'm forced to put in a constraint, and a lot of times I'm told, "Oh, you're gonna lose your marks because your drawings are not up to the mark." Whereas your concept is, people appreciate my concept, people appreciate my outcome, my garments, but they are not able to appreciate my sketches, which I'm okay with. I've learned like marks do not do so anything important. Um, so it has never hindered me,
Mhm.
like hindered my practice. ये थोड़ा कम marks से चलेगा, but when people see my portfolio, they see my ability to conceptualize and to bring out an outcome which is like what I have imagined.
Mhm.
So there's certain relevance. Within the process, I had limitation of sketching. Um, so now I have AI and I feel so empowered with it. Now my limitation is not my limitation anymore. And I have power of words. I
Mhm.
used to feel I'm limited with drawing on a 2D surface, but I'm powerful with words that I can explain the red I want.
Mhm.
I can explain the volume of my form, and I can still draw. It's not like I cannot draw completely.
Mhm.
I can draw. I do reasonable quality sketches. I think my sketches are technically they're reasonable quality. They communicate the designs without confusing people, but they're not beautified.
Yeah.
They are not angelicized or fantastical lines.
Mm.
I don't have patience to do that. I don't have um, in my brain and my hands wiring. I don't have that coding in my program. So AI has been a very, very, very,
Yeah.
very helpful in this way. I've recently created two books
Wow.
um, with a university. I'm not going to name the university because they haven't paid me for one of the books, so I don't want to publicize them. They've paid me for the first one, but the second one, it's been 3 months and they haven't. We should also talk about this. that designers have been used and abused and exploited and not been paid. And everyone says, "Oh yeah, it's good for your CV." Bhai, CV to ठीक है, but I have to pay also pay bills. No, and आपका काम मैंने समय से कर दिया, मेरे पैसे तो समय से दो. अगर आप नहीं दोगे अगली बार मैं काम नहीं करूँ. I will not do it. And
Yeah.
if you can find someone else who want to do it, please be happy and bring them. But I put my soul into the work. I worked 24 hours for those books. I had a team which stayed up whole nights and days. Like half of the team is available during the day, half of the team is available at night, and I'm sleeping in between few hours. So I am managing my design team. So I've done it like that. One book I created in some 20 days with some 200 something pages from
Wow.
scratch. And
Jeez.
कंटेंट हमने खुद हमारे रिसर्च था, because this is something I was already working on. Khadi, we
Wow.
understand it from the very beginning. As you enter a fashion school, you know what khadi is, and especially in India, it's part of our heritage. So I have been over these years. I have an idea of what khadi means for me,
Mm.
what it means for my country,
Mm.
for self-reliance and
Mm.
self-sustenance from Gandhi and even pre-Gandhi. जब खादी वर्ड नहीं था, वो खद्दर बोला जाता था, the rough chorus fabric, and multiple other hand-spun, hand-woven practices around our country has existed for so long. So that became part of the book. So we did it in 20 days, stayed up whole days and nights, and it came out really well. The people over there, people who called me to do it, I didn't want to do it. I was like, when Sir asked me, I said, I don't think I can do it. I don't like documentation. I don't even document my own work. It's going to be really boring. I know that in the middle of the project, I will be performing really bad, and आप मेरे को गालियां देकर धक्के मारकर लात मार के निकाल दोगे और बोलोगे कभी मत आना, blacklist me. But he said, no, no, you'll do it. I trust you. And he convinced me, and I said, okay, as a designer, it's not my domain. I'm a fashion designer. I've not studied typography. I've not studied visual balance in a technical way. I know, like I said, our eyes tell us we live in the world. I consume visuals. I'm a consumer for sure. And I'm also a designer. I have the creative ability to think. So I said, okay, let's take a challenge. Let's take the road less traveled by. And I accepted their offer. I went there. I sat in front of the blank screen, and the challenge is design it, balance it. क्या चाहिए? कुछ नहीं चाहिए भाई. Principles and elements of design चाहिए.
Mm.
That is the only thing you need. Principles of design तो मुझे आता है. मुझे visual, technical, softwares नॉलेज इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग शायद नहीं होगा. मुझे टाइपोग्राफी पे मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ा होगा. मैंने कलर करेक्शंस, कलर बैलेंस पर बहुत ज़्यादा डेप्थ में शायद पढ़ाई नहीं की होगी. पर मैंने उनको जिया तो है, मैंने उनको रिसर्च तो किया, फील तो किया है. तो आंखों को ट्रस्ट करूंगा, और ब्लैंक स्क्रीन पे मेरी आंखों ने मुझे वो प्रोजेक्ट करने में सक्सेसफुल सपोर्ट दिया. एंड इट केम आउट वेरी वेल. आई वाज हैप्पी अबाउट इट. So yeah, why was I telling you this? There was
Oh,
something. Yeah.
um, I think it was about AI ka discussion
So
se.
yes,
Yes.
so within the whole book,
Yeah.
now I had to study typography in one night. What did I do? First thing I went, my this is something people who are going to watch this can also cheat, like it's a cheat code, a small little thing. I go to YouTube, the easiest thing. I'm kind of also attention deficit in certain way. So जब बहुत सारा टेक्स्ट होगा तो बहुत कुछ एसेंस चला जाएगा. बट ऑडियो विजुअल जो है वो एक बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग इम्पैक्ट किसी इंफॉर्मेशन को डाइजेस्ट करने में, और मेरे लिए लर्निंग में ऑडियो विजुअल्स टेक्स्ट से बहुत ज़्यादा रोल प्ले करता है, इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है. सो फर्स्ट थिंग, आई वेंट टू यूट्यूब. I saw some 10-15 videos. Then I went to ChatGPT, and I had a plus version of it, and I've trained it over a year. So it understands when I'm saying a word, it knows कि प्रतीक के लिए इस particular emotion का क्या मतलब है. You know, when I
Hmm.
say, let's say I say sublime.
Hmm.
Now, sublime, everyone I'm sure can have different association with this word.
Hmm.
For certain people, sublime might mean a lake which has still water,
Hmm.
though there's not many waves. There are no birds. There is comfortable breeze, not windy. There is a slight ujala in the sky, not sharp
Hmm.
dhoop. You know, could be sublime. For someone else, maybe just a lotus can be a sublime element, a white lotus.
Hmm.
For me, it is maybe moon's reflection in the river where Saraswati emerges is sublime.
Hmm.
So for each person, these words have different associations. My chat GPT understands me because I've trained it over and over. I've fed it to
Hmm.
my account that you know, when I say this, this is what I mean. When I see this, this is what I mean. When I say sea green or I say sea blue. They both mean different things for me. Sea green would be closer to Tiffany's green, whereas sea blue will be closer to turquoise for me. So you have to train your AI.
Yeah.
पर मेरा वो आउटकम निकल पा रहा है बिकॉज मेरे को डिजाइन करना आता है.
Hmm.
मेरे को चैट जीपीटी से वो कराना आता है. सो टाइपोग्राफी मैंने एक रात में पढ़ाई किया. मैंने चैट जीपीटी को बोला ब्रिंग मी द एग्जैक्ट थिंग्स आई रिक्वायर, लाइक देयर आर सर्टेन प्रॉम्प्ट्स I gave in certain order, and it helped me learn it. Understand, learn is not the right word perhaps, but understand, expose myself to typology, typography, and I was able to function. AI really helped me
Hmm.
that way. Sometimes old photographs, which were becoming part of the book somewhere, where you know, some prototypes are clicked by using a phone camera, and so now AI helps me enhance, you know,
Hmm.
enhance those visuals.
Yeah.
The quality, the resolution becomes better. So वहां पर टेक्निकल लिमिटेशन था, जो कुछ साल पहले, इवन टुडे माय फोन कैमरा इज जस्ट एन एवरेज फोन.
Hmm.
I'm very careless with phones, so I never take an expensive one because my phone breaks every 2 weeks. I
Hmm.
break my phone. So, so yeah, the quality of visual may not be great with my phone camera, but when I take it, I can use AI to enhance it to a better resolution
Hmm.
for me. So we created things like at 400 times zoom पर भी वो pixelate नहीं हो रहा है.
Hmm.
So that is, AI is really helpful, really helpful.
Wow. It's a blessing
Yeah,
for you. No, no. I mean, yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a blessing for you to speak on this, and I'll tell you why. Love that there's a person out there who is giving us the most amount of positives on this, and that outlook somewhere it kind of got left out, the good bits of it, the beautiful empowering bits of it. Okay, this is also a
absolutely.
possibility of AI, and something that I can personally connect. My sketching is bad. It's bad as in I will draw something and probably I'll be the only person who'll be able to understand कि क्या draw किया है. And then when I jump to material or when I jump to a software, it's in my head. मतलब it just flows ऐसा and it just becomes a thing. I work with objects more, and you work with garments more. Um, but I don't think the crux is any different. Where your
Yeah,
brain is thinking in three-dimensional, and the restriction of two-dimensional um, becomes a hassle. Sometimes people. So I often used to tell my students that sketching good is never going to make you the best designer inherently.
yeah,
It's gonna help probably your clients or somebody else to see what you are making, but you need to have one tool. It could be like how you mentioned, you drape it on the mannequin, For me, it could be jumping in a software, or maybe just making it and then showing it. This is what I think. And that one tool is gonna take you places, and it doesn't have to be key. Step one is the sketching bit of it or the 2D parts of it. But now that AI is here, we can also cover that, and you don't have to lack in that manner as well.
Sorry, I'm cutting you
No, no,
there.
no.
There's a point I'll forget. So
Yeah, yeah.
it came to me before also, but I forgot about it. So it just came back. Also, what AI has done is it has empowered not just people like us,
Mm-hmm.
it has empowered so many more people by decentralizing creative pursuits.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are a lot of, especially in India, there's a lot of, even today, women are treated differently than men.
Mm-hmm.
A girl child's education is still very different than her brother's educations.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of young girls who are married at an early age, now with the help of AI, they can design their own garment.
Mm-hmm.
She may be a housewife, and she now it's decentralized, that now she just has to go on a website, describe what she wants, and she can explore, and she has her own creating creation. So that empowering people is so wonderful.
Yeah.
ये जिनका जिनको बहुत तकलीफ हो रहा है, a lot of people are afraid about it, is it's all insecurities.
Yeah.
That oh, AI is going to replace human. I don't believe anything can replace humans really.
No.
And रिप्लेस तो नहीं होगा, अगर होना होता तो अभी तक हो गया होता और धरती का बहुत कल्याण हो चुका होता. बट ह्यूमंस तो नहीं रिप्लेस हो रहा है, बट मे बी दिस इज decentralizing power.
Mm-hmm.
पावर डायनामिक्स आर चेंजिंग.
Truly.
कल जो 4-5 लोग एक पोजीशन को होल्ड करते थे, today with the help of AI, many more people are venturing into it. People who did not have design education are coming into design fields because there is a support, there is a tool
Mm.
which can help them. I think today every other person I see who has not studied design is also doing social media marketing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of students, young people are doing social media marketing, working with Canva or integrated with AI, and quick work like 20 minutes a day,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a certain part-time pocket money from it, which is also again empowering youth,
Mm-hmm.
empowering everyone. I
Yeah.
mean, grandparents. I follow some Haryanvi Dadi on Instagram, where it is so funny. Her life is empowered by AI, but how she has used it, I tell you, she goes to Chat GPT,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts talking to Chat GPT as if it's a person. She says, "Tu rehta kahan hai?" So then it tells auntie in हरियाणवी कि मैं तो मशीन हूँ, मैं रहता नहीं हूँ. देन आंटी से, अच्छा तेरे माता पिता कहाँ हैं? नहीं, मेरे कोई माता पिता नहीं है. अरे बिना माता पिता के तू कैसे पैदा हो गया? you know Certain conversation the auntie ji is having, and then she's like, तेरा शादी कब होगा? She's asking those things. She's trying to create fun, create a funny element between a generation which is so far away from technology, and she's using the technology, and she's creating a joke, and she's putting it out there for the world to laugh at. So she has tapped it.
Yeah.
Dadi is very, very smart. She knows the AI.
Yeah.
She understands the AI. She is creating beautiful comedy.
Mm. Truly.
So it has not only, it might have endangered some people in some offices who have been sitting there lazily on certain chairs for a very long time, और lazily भी नहीं बैठे होंगे, बहुत मेहनत भी किया होगा,
Huh.
but वो power एक control में है.
Yeah.
But with such availability of resource at your fingertips, that today anyone can generate a visual,
Mm.
anyone can edit a picture of their own self. ये पिक्चर का बैकग्राउंड चेंज करना है, अभी
Yeah.
मेरे को कोई किसी को फोटोशॉप वाले को ढूंढने का जरूरत नहीं है.
Oh, yes.
हमारे जमाने में हम छोटे थे तो
कितना
फोटो बूथ होते थे.
yeah.
We used to go to a passport size photograph खिंचाने के लिए कहीं जाना होता था स्टूडियो में एंड वो जब कंप्यूटर पे खोलता था तो we used to say कि ये वाला रिंकल अगर थोड़ा कम हो जाए या you know something if you can do and they used to charge a little bit money and do it
yeah,
or we used to go to cafes where
yeah,
one cafe वाला भैया is good with
yeah,
Photoshop and he would edit your picture a
yeah,
bit
yeah,
you know फ्रेंड्स का बर्थडे है कुछ और आप कोलाज बना रहे हो डिजिटल कोलाज यू आर टेकिंग हेल्प फ्रॉम people today you can do that on your own
yeah.
like with AI just आप 2 मिनट में कर सकते हो
True.
my brother just got a baby boy
Wow.
so and my brother is not a designer his wife is not a designer but they're young people from today so all the invitation of the mundan to the kua pujan all of these things were designed by them खुद ही डिजाइन कर लिया पिक्चर लिया 5 मिनट में डिजाइन कर दिया उन लोगों ने and they're sending it to me if it was old days without the AI, they would have reached out to me. आप जरा
Ah,
invitation बना दो,
yeah.
आप जरा ये कर. Today, I feel relieved कि they have taken care of it themselves.
Yeah.
It has become easy.
And that is a correct point because I remember one of my first introduction to Photoshop was ki my friend was like, "He, you are a designer, right?" And at the time, I wasn't even a designer. I was just trying to make things. And he was like, "Oh, can you remove the background?" And my entire 3 days went into like learning कि बैकग्राउंड रिमूव क्या होता है कहाँ से होता है ये टूल वो टूल ब्रश टूल and eventually after 3 days I removed the background and he was like हाँ मतलब natural नहीं लग रहा and I'm like oh my god my 3 days of work and it's still not
Crazy.
looking natural but I remember how hard it used to be today you can on your phone at the time you click the picture you can
Yeah,
directly be इसको हटाओ this is done so
yeah.
so that again is AI for sure मतलब वो AI का ही हिस्सा है चाहे तुम उसको machine learning या जो भी कह लो but yeah somewhere or the other it is part of AI in design at least um, and if you have something to add you can or I can move on to the next golden
Yeah, move
question
on to the next one.
yeah, the golden question of this always would be, uh, what is creativity to you? This is going
Oh,
to be the thread that keeps on going in every interview. Um,
this is, I think, a question which is going to go on for the whole life.
for the life, yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, I think more I'm alive, living, more I'm growing. Um, my understanding of creativity is evolving too. And I think I don't have a final word on it because there's so much left for me to learn, to understand. Um, I think, what is creativity? Such a hard question, though.
It's the hardest question of them all, and maybe I'm not even asking you. A lot of people do this, including myself. Um, is that when somebody asks me a question, I am probably trying my best to have an impressive answer. You know, be like, "Acha, ye I covered all the stones," and I'll be like, "Yeah, sab maine dekh liya." What I would love for you, the way you can answer it, is that maybe if the small kid Prateek asks you this question, ki how like what is creativity, and if you can give him an answer,
Wow. I just, when you are saying this, there's a, so, you know, I'm sure you would identify with this. We are designers. When we hear words, हमारे यहाँ पर एक screen होता है, जहाँ पर movie चलने लगता है, सब दिखने लगता है. So I just had a very strong visual. You said if I have to talk to my own self, the
hmm,
young Prateek, you know, it is so opportune that I have this with me right now. um, this is a small diary
hmm,
which I wrote when I was in Himachal, and I went for something called neuro linguistic programming,
wow,
where through meditative senses, through certain practices, we went back back into our childhood. We met our childhood self and we actually spoke to our childhood. So I feel I talk to my inner child, like my younger self. And when you said ki what will you tell him, what is creativity, exactly in that moment the answer came to me.
Wow.
I
Oh,
would tell the young Prateek, I would tell, just be yourself is creativity enough. You don't even have to create. You don't have to anything. Just be yourself. I think you are a creation, part of creation, and something will erupt out of you and will be your creativity per se. But I think being myself and living it itself is creative, maybe
yeah.
the thoughts, the ideas, the dreams, the aspirations, the lows and downs, how you navigate through them, um, how you see that there are issues at home,
Yeah.
for example, and yet you do not, you hide your emotions, you show a smiling face to your parents so you don't trouble them or you don't add up to their trouble. I think that is creativity too, that where you can manipulate your own emotions or you can transform. Rather, manipulate has a negative connotation somewhere, but I could transform.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at my parents anyway, I want to be happy in front of them because um, they love me so much and they don't want to see me sad, and I'm a part of it, part of them.
Yeah.
If I want my mother to be happy, I am her extension, so her extension needs to also be happy, so she's happy. So I project. Sometimes I'm faking it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am finding ways to
Yeah.
navigate through everyday life. It can be creativity.
Yeah.
But to young Pratik, there's only one thing. कुछ बना मत बना कोई obligation कुछ नहीं है. Just be yourself and maybe learn some martial arts or something. जरूरत पड़ेगा. कभी
So,
साउथ इंडियन मूवी के जैसा सिचुएशन होगा तो 5-6 लोगों को एक साथ पीटना पड़ सकता है खुद को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए. But that is a message I would give to my younger self, that just be yourself, be unique, and learn to combat.
wow. And this question particularly is going to be where I do not give any afterthoughts because I think that would spoil the beauty of the answer itself. So, this question is possibly the easiest and the hardest question of like for any creative. And um, yeah, let me just stop there. I'm not gonna add to it because I want people to perceive it as unfiltered as you give it to them, and
Sure.
and as any creative, I'm sure so many creatives would love to hear this coming out of someone who they can relate to. Um, yeah, amazing. Let me Honestly speaking, a lot of the questions that I prepared for, you already answered them amazingly. And let me open the question in a bit of a quirky way, um,
Sure.
because this thought came to my mind when we were talking about design education and research methods, all of that together. And then you talking about your institute, Kabhi Aayega. Um, would you want to redesign design education itself? Like, would you be willing to, be like, this is what I've learned, but I've seen so many flaws of it. Let
Yeah.
me make, let me make education myself.
I think, including you, we all are doing that already, from our classroom practices to how, even apart from the module or the syllabus or the course descriptors given to us, there's a lot of elements which we bring in, which is our own, which is, where we are very strongly opinionated, and it's the
That's
sanskaras we are carrying forward. We bring it out to the next generation. Redesign, absolutely, it is required to redesign because it has things have become way too commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Like hyper commercialization has happened already. It's not happening, it has already happened. Hyper commercialization, and yet the designer does not get any money. हाँ, designer बेचारा, it's कोई पैसा नहीं मिल रहा. It's the owner of the company getting all the money, and a lot of business people are not designers. Some of them are designers as well. That's great, but anyway, it has become so hyper commercial um, that exploratory, innovative approach, when it's not with tech, it is not supported. When it comes to
Yeah.
tech, when it comes to, let's say, new technology like 3D printing, it's anyway, now it's old, but let's say 2010 3D printing was such a big thing.
Yeah.
Like people, we didn't even know what it was, and then there was Iris Van Harpen doing 3D printed couture garments, showing it in Paris, and it was upcoming technology, so people focused into it. Today AI is becoming like that, it's going forward. But I feel the explorations towards emotions have dulled down. मतलब unique innovations are happening in terms of material. Innovation is happening. Technology techniques have been there, but artistic expression, the poetic essence, the storytelling still needs to go forward. Still needs to find creative ways of how a story to be told, and maybe also going back in time, we must also study history in a better way. So
Yes.
there's a lot which was done in past, which has not evolved over because the fragments have disappeared. There were Nalandas were burning, there were Takshashilas, Vikramshilas, Bhojshalas, all these universities, Indian educational, indigenous, Indic educational systems were burning or damaged, destroyed. There's a word for it. Iconoclasm was happening to the Indian civilization in the medieval time, majorly in the medieval, beginning of the medieval, middle ages बोलते हैं. So बहुत सारा जो नॉलेज है, जो बहुत सारा तत्व है, जो एक सिविलाइजेशन का हजारों हजार साल का जो churned out purest ज्ञान था, or the tattva that has fragmented. It is, I would like to believe that when Nalanda was burning for, let's say, months, some people, some sources claim 3 months, some sources claim 6 months. Let's say, जब वो महीनों महीनों तक नालंदा जल रहा है, I refuse to believe that no one tried to save the manuscripts. बहुत जले होंगे, पर कुछ तो बचा भी होगा.
Yeah.
कहीं तो होगा. Some sadhus, some yogis, some teachers, some gurus must have hidden some things. They must be lying in some tekhana of some small temple in some villages around the country in a fragmented manner. I've also came across that a lot of manuscripts from Nalanda was taken to Tibet. They might be in monasteries in Tibet,
Wow.
as well as probably somewhere in Ladakh as well. But Tibet, because Nalanda was Buddhist, and majorly, also there was a lot of Hindu, Jain, and other Indic belief systems were there, but majorly it transformed into a Buddhist university. Even Sarnath, places like Sarnath were. So a lot of innovation. What is innovation? To find a way through what we have in a way we haven't tried before, in a way it is not available today. I think in a simpler manner,
Yeah.
I'm trying to build this
Yeah.
definition with
Yeah.
you here. So, to innovate, I should also look at what already exists,
Yeah.
what already, so that it can give me a adhar, a base, a foundation to build further.
Yeah.
So, similarly, I was listening to a Baba from Barsana, Vrindavan,
Mm-hmm.
and Vinod Bihari Baba. So I was doing some research, and वो करते करते I reached to a video where Baba is giving satsang.
Mm.
And I listened to a lot of, those days because it was in Italy and I was in Rome, and the people I was working with were Italians, but they were Hindus. Like they adopted Hinduism in 1970s, and so they were more devotees of Radha Krishna, and I was not at that time. So when I went there, they started talking to me about gods, and I refer to Radha Krishna as mythological characters. So Robert said to me, Pratik, stop. One day you are going to realize how foolish you are to think of them as mythological characters. They're not mythological characters, they're Bhagwan. I'm like, यार ये अंग्रेज मुझे बड़ा बता रहा है, इसको ज्यादा पता है. ठीक है भाई, कर ले, तो तेरे को ज्यादा पता है, ठीक है. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है, मैं मंदिर जाता हूँ भगवान के सामने, मैं पूजा वूजा करता हूँ, बट आई थॉट दो स्टोरीज महाभारता, those are epic stories.
Yeah. Legends. Yeah.
There might be a certain truth to it. Those days, not today, I don't feel that. Those days I used to, I'm talking about some 7, 8 years ago.
Mm.
I used to feel like that. And then Robert made me sit down and he spoke about Radharani for 2 hours, and it changed my perception in a certain way. I went home. Now सोते जागते रॉबर्ट का आवाज मेरे दिमाग में घूम रहा है, like slaps.
Mm.
Like, you're so foolish to think of them as mythological characters. They're not mythological characters. They're Bhagwan. You're so foolish to think of them as characters. They're not mythological characters. They're Bhagwan. Just day and night, I cannot sleep. My sleep breaks in between. I feel like, did I make a mistake? Did I commit a कुछ पाप जैसा कुछ हुआ है क्या मेरे से अनजाने में? क्या मैंने सच में कुछ समझने में कमी कर दी, या मेरे मेरे में आदर भाव नहीं था अपने कल्चर को लेकर, या अपने बिलीव्स को लेकर, या जो मैं नहीं मानता पर से, पर मेरी माँ मानती है. तो जो माँ जो मानती है वो तो सत्य होना चाहिए ना मेरे लिए.
Yeah.
But maybe my westernized education or the leftist environment of Delhi circle I'm coming from has brainwashed me that I used to feel little, what do you say, apprehensive to admit that I believe in God. And I was also one of those people who would say, "Oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual." you know. I used to be like that. No, damn, I am religious. I am a proud Sanatani,
Mm-hmm.
and I bow down to the evolution that my ancestors have gone through. That today I am what I am, where I am, the belief, faith I have in my heart to do good for the world, to think of the whole world as my home, to think of the whole world as my family,
Mm-hmm.
like Vasudev Kutumbakam.
Mm.
So so I was listening to बाबाज those days. जो बाबा जेल में है उनको भी मैंने सुना, जो जेल में नहीं है उनको भी सुना, जो बहुत जिनको सुनकर, कुछ बाबाओं को सुनकर मेरे आंसू भी आए, और कुछ को सुनकर ऐसा लगा कि इनको भी जेल में डालना चाहिए. So, but all through the research I was doing, listening to Babas on YouTube, listening to what Robert was sending. Robert was also sending me a lot of material to study, to understand. So I developed a project about Radha. It was an embroidery project with beads.
Wow.
So anyway, while doing that, I came across Baba's satsang. Till now, each satsang I was evaluating, I was analyzing, I was making notes, writing things. When I started hearing Baba, the analytical mind went away. The and the notes, the ability to write went away. I find myself sobbing. I was just sobbing. Baba is speaking, and I am feeling cleansed. I'm feeling blessed, like as if some divine light is coming through YouTube and my iPad onto me and cleansing me. It was so powerful. So Baba said something. I'm not going to take so much time. I'm just going to finish it quickly.
No, it's
So
lovely.
So, but it's a very important lesson. It's something which I'm gonna take with me to another lok when I die. Is He talked about storytelling. What is katha? कथा का अर्थ क्या है बाबा ने समझाया. सो क कृष्णम हृदय स्थाप्यति इति कथा. जिसके सुनने मात्र से कृष्ण तुम्हारे हृदय में आ जाए, उसका नाम कथा है, अकॉर्डिंग टू बाबा इन द ट्रेडिशनल सेंस. सो बट ओवर द टाइम स्टोरी टेलिंग बिकेम कथा इटसेल्फ. कि अभी वो जरूरी नहीं है कृष्णा का कथा होगा. इट कैन बी, क्योंकि जैसे गाथा इज ऑल्सो अ वर्ड यूज्ड वेयर यू सिंग अबाउट प्रेजेस, यू सिंग अबाउट. सो रामायणा कुड बिकम अ गाथा ऑल्सो. इट्स रामायणा इज रामा's गाथा, रामा एडवेंचर्स ऑफ राम. एंड नॉट ओनली एडवेंचर, ये तो बहुत ही लिमिट कर देना है अगर एडवेंचर बोलेंगे तो, बिकॉज it is way bigger than what I can put it in my words that today I understand. Um, so कथा शब्द इवॉल्व हुआ. नाउ कथा तीन प्रकार का होता है. एक जो पेट के लिए या पेट से कहा जाता है, जो मनोरंजन, एंटरटेनमेंट, चुटकुला फुटकुला, फोक टेल, फोकलोर, बहुत ज्यादा तत्व नहीं होता है. कनेक्टिविटी, यस, पीपल लाफ एट इट, दे कम टुगेदर, दे सेलिब्रेट इट, एंड आफ्टरवर्ड्स दे गो होम, दे आर हैप्पी. इट्स एंटरटेनिंग, इट्स एंटरटेनमेंट. सो दैट इज द कथा जो पेट के लिए कहा जाता है, जो जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए कहा जाता है, या थोड़ा बहुत पैसे कमाने के लिए कहा जाता है. द सेकेंड वन इज कथा फ्रॉम हियर. यहाँ पर जो कथावाचक है वो अपने वाद्य यंत्र इन्वॉल्व करता है अपने स्टोरी टेलिंग प्रोसेस में. वो स्वर का उच्चारण पे ध्यान देता है, वो लयकारी पे ध्यान देता है, वो एक शब्दों के फॉर्मेशन पे ध्यान देता है. मे बी वो कुछ शास्त्रों से कुछ टेक्निक्स लेकर उन टेक्निक्स को, व्हाट इज शास्त्र, प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ डिजाइन भी एक तरह से शास्त्र ही हुआ ना. मतलब आप उन प्रिंसिपल्स में अप्लाई कर रहे हो. सो इन आई एम an Indian from here, so I try to, I'm forcing myself to not use English terms. I mean, I'm saying all of this in English. How this is how crippled we are. I am like that. I think in a language. I detest a language of the colonial residue, and I cannot express myself completely in my own mother tongue. But I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my identity. I'm still working on my identity. कि भाई भारत से 2026, I was trying to say that in Hindi, but 2026 साल में धरती के इस भाग पे पैदा होने के बाद और पढ़ पढ़ लिखने के बाद, डिजाइन को समझने के बाद, एक कॉन्शियस इंसान बनने के बाद, आज मेरा क्या आइडेंटिटी है, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम सर्चिंग फॉर. एंड दैट colonial past and the British and the English supreme s culture has to go away, and it has to go away from my myself. I'm not saying I want to change the world. I don't care about the world. It can change on its own. I cannot change the world, I feel, but I can change my environment a bit, my home, my room, my box. So I'm going to work on my box. I'm going to work on the walls of my box. I'm going to transform them. So कथावाचक जब दिमाग लगाता है, जब टेक्निक्स पे काम करता है, जब शास्त्रों को अप्लाई करता है, वाद्य यंत्र को लाता है, प्रॉप्स लेकर आता है, तो वो एक परफॉर्मेंस बन जाता है. जब वो परफॉर्मेंस बन जाता है, पहली बार, दूसरी बार बहुत अच्छा है, तीसरी बार जोश है, एनर्जी है, तत्व है, लोगों ने तालियां बजाया, आपको मजा आ रहा है. पर अब सोचो, फरीदा खानम ने आज जाने की जिद ना करो गाया. अब वो 70 साल की हो गई है, वो पूरी लाइफ वो गाना गाए. क्या आज वो गाते हुए उनको कुछ फील होता हो? शी मस्ट फील सो ड्राई विद दैट सॉन्ग. शी मस्ट फील लाइक, यार अभी हर मुशायरे में वो उनको बुलाते हैं या उनको किसी कॉन्सर्ट में बुलाते हैं तो एक रिक्वेस्ट तो होता होगा कि मैम वो तो आप गा ही दीजिए. एंड इट मस्ट हैव बिन रेचिंग फॉर एन आर्टिस्ट की बस अब हो गया, अभी मुझे उसका तत्व ही नहीं फील होता है, अभी वो फील ही नहीं होता, अभी वो ऑटो पायलट पे गा देते हैं, चल
Right.
जाता है।
Um,
बट तत्व उसमें से चला जाता है जब बहुत दिमाग यूज करके, बहुत टेक्निक यूज करके सेम चीज को ओवर एंड ओवर करते हैं, तो दैट तत्व गेट्स लॉस्ट समवेयर। एंड द लास्ट वन, द थर्ड काइंड, द कथा फ्रॉम द हार्ट। या हियर दिस साइड, कथा फ्रॉम द हार्ट। दिस वन, इसमें मेरे सुर नहीं है, मेरे पास कोई वाद्य यंत्र नहीं है, मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है, मेरे पास तत्व है, सिर्फ तत्व। और वो तत्व इतना पावरफुल होता है कि आप बस वो तत्व को आपको स्टेट करना है, एंड इट मेक्स सेंस। सो बाबा gave an example of another Baba called Dongreji Maharaj. He was quite legendary. He was also on Doordarshan, भारत एक खोज करके कोई दूरदर्शन
yeah,
पे शायद शो था,
I've
उसमें
heard of
डोंगरी
him.
जी महाराज
Yeah.
को दिखाया गया था। सो बाबा said, once Baba was going through forests around वृंदावन, और देखते हैं हजारों हजार गाड़ी खड़ी है, हजारों हजार लोग हैं, पर बिल्कुल शोर नहीं है, बिल्कुल पिन ड्रॉप साइलेंस है, जैसे सब इतना शांत क्यों है, क्या हो रहा है, कुछ तो हो रहा है, बाबा जा रहे हैं, बाबा इज इंट्रीग्ड कि क्या हो रहा है, समझते हैं। तो बाबा देखते हैं भीड़ लगी है, बाबा भीड़ के बीच में जाकर देखते हैं तो डोंगरी जी बैठे हैं, डोंगरी जी महाराज कथा सुना रहे हैं, कोई माइक्रोफोन नहीं है उनके पास, कोई म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, डोंगरे जी बस कथा कह रहे हैं। शायद जब उन्होंने कथा कहनी शुरू की थी तब वो अकेले थे, वहां पर जंगल में बैठकर उन्होंने शायद यूनिवर्स के लिए कहना शुरू किया होगा, या दो तीन उनके शिष्य होंगे उनके लिए। बट इवेंचुअली देयर वाज 1,000 people sitting around him just to listen to his katha, without the microphone, without even a fan, without even electricity, without even a tambu or a shed। डोंगरी जी बस जंगल में बैठकर वो कथा कह रहे हैं, और हजारों हजार लोग वहां पर हैं। So that is a very powerful thing I thought Baba said was about the tattva, the storytelling। पर वो स्टोरी टेलिंग ही नहीं, स्टोरी टेलिंग के लिए, वो तत्व बताने के लिए तत्व का ज्ञात और तत्व को फील करना, इम्बाइब करना, अपने अंदर अपने से मर्ज करना बहुत जरूरी है। Then your design is can become timeless, can become universal, can touch up human emotions as well as the functionality पे तो anyway हम काम करते ही हैं, but beyond functionality, एक ऑब्जेक्ट एक प्रोडक्ट है, यू आर अ प्रोडक्ट डिजाइनर्स ना, यू कैन रिलेट ऑन इट व्हेन यू आर मेकिंग अ प्रोडक्ट। अ फोन इज अ फोन इज अ फोन, राइट? अल्टीमेटली इट्स अ फोन, समवन इज गोना यूज इट, समवन इज गोना कैरी इट। सो उसका एक पर्टिकुलर साइज है, पॉकेट में आ जाएगा, हाथ में लिया जाएगा, स्टैंड पे रखा जाएगा, कैमरा है तो आज मैं और तीर्थ बात कर पा रहे हैं, इंटरनेट कनेक्ट होता है, वाईफाई है तो हम ये कर पा रहे हैं। बट इमेजिन if it is my first phone from my first salary, then it's not just a product anymore. Now it's something more. Like it's my friend Shubham, for example, he got his own car from his own money. That car is few years old. We have had great times in that car. We love that car so much. It's different. It's not just a car.
No.
It is the car. Or for example, this one, I got this in Amsterdam with my best friend when I was not into streetwear, and she's a stylist, and she was my neighbor. So she was always pushing me to try something different and new. And this was my first garment from my from streetwear, which I try to imbibe or try to apply into. So it's not just a product. A product can change its meaning and relevance based on where it is, in what situation it is been taken by the user. So it's something more, and that something more is the tattva I'm talking about, from Baba's story as well. It's the tattva, the emotion, how a child feels so comfortable with his or her blanket, that association with one object। ये नया भी ला दो, वो फट भी गया है तब भी वो बच्चे को छोड़ा नहीं जाता है। मतलब मेरे साथ तो ये तकलीफ होता है, माई some of my garments have torn। I'm telling you about when I was 8 9 years old, I had a shirt which I loved so much, कि वो फट गया, आई टोल्ड माई मदर कि ठीक है मैं इसको पहनूंगा नहीं, पर इसको फेंकना मत, आई फाइंड इट सो ब्यूटिफुल दैट प्लीज डोंट थ्रो इट अवे, आई स्टिल हैव इट विद मी.
Wow.
So objects become very important, very very it can they can transcend from being an object to become a divine or a emotional element into your life
Mm.
which stays with you. One last thing I wanna share about myself.
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere important. When I was a baby, like really small, that I couldn't even sit up, so I would cry. My mother tells me that if she puts me in the pram, I would cry. But when she had to take a shower and there wouldn't be, other people to take care of me, she would put me in the tram and she would put her sari in my tram on me, and I would search for my mother in her sari, and she would go and take her shower and do her other things and come back and pick me up, and I wouldn't cry. The sari has the essence of my mother, which made me so comforted. So an object, it's just an object
Mm.
which mama wears, but she holds me with it. So the touch of it, I'm sure the smell of mother, of course, a baby knows their mother smell. So it's not just objects we are making. Our objects can become something much more than just something which can be used and thrown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still taking in the. I'm happy. See, you are one of the best people who comes back and relates things. Like you told us about Katha, but then you also came back and connected it to design and how a lot
Yeah,
of
I feel everything is connected.
it is, yeah, and design. Oh my god, nothing has more storytelling than design. Probably doesn't matter what field. Or I'm sure, be it fashion, with product, or any design, graphic, storytelling still remains, and I think it will remain the most powerful uh,
Yeah.
criteria of it because humans, right? Humans, we love stories and we love learning about stories. I When I went through so many stories in my life, like I loved reading short stories. I love learning about new short stories that exist. Like not even the stories themselves. I'm like, oh wow, there's another collection. Like, we all have like Panch Tantra and Akbar Birbal and Tenali Raman, so many. And then beyond that,
Yeah.
you're like, oh wait, there's like Sudha Murthy has her own short stories now. I want to hear them too, like grandmother short stories, so many. Um, yeah, I think this is a good place for the first episode. What do you think?
I am very happy. Yeah. I think we are on to something. So we are not trying to be unique or to do something for something.
No.
We are just expressing ourselves.
Hmm.
And yes, um, certain things are needed by the world, certain change has to come. We are the present of the world. We're not the future.
Yeah.
We are the present. Our students are the future.
Yeah.
But I would like to believe I'm the present. I'm now.
Yeah.
This is it. So yeah, we have to take some steps. Let's begin somewhere. Let's see how, if the world understands, it's wonderful,
Yeah.
we'll enjoy that. If it does not, still wonderful, we'll keep on going.
We still would look back and be like, wow, I still enjoy, like, maybe one day we would enjoy the conversations we had, right? And that
Yeah.
is in itself, like, one of the best. Like in Gita, they say, Krishna says that I am the biggest bhogi of my own world, as in I enjoy my world more than anybody else. And in a way, if we can look back and enjoy our own designs more than anybody else, I think that satisfaction, I don't think any other design can ever give us. So maybe this conversation is for us to be. happy about it. Be like, yeah, we did the conversation.
I
Design,
think
yeah,
we should have this topic for the next conversation with a different person.
yeah.
Maybe both of us can be there, but maybe one or two more people can come so we get their perspective on to be able to enjoy your own design.
Mm,
Sometimes I can empathize what I made at a particular point. कि उस समय मेरा क्षमता ये था, मेरा रिसोर्सेज मेरे पास ये थे, तो ये बनाया था, समझ में आता है. But I don't know, not all things I've created, I've enjoyed them. Like, okay, some designs I've enjoyed them, I've worn them myself day and night. Some things I've enjoyed, some of my work I've enjoyed, but it's very hard. And there's always, because you know yourself and you know that you can do better, you can push yourself even more. Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you know that book?
I do not know.
It's a very small book, and I'm sure it's available online.
Mm,
Google करोगे, free PDF मिल जाएगा, and it's very small. Like you can finish it in 30 minutes,
wow.
and it's one of the most inspiring books. It's a short story, you can call it, and it's one of the most inspiring things. I've read it when I was in school, तो ज़्यादा समझ में नहीं आया था. School के बाद, when I was studying, preparing to get design college entrance, that time also I came across, थोड़ा कुछ समझ में आया. Then I met Papia, and one day Papia explained, and it opened my eyes. The seagull, mostly seagulls are these birds at the ocean. Mostly, what they do, they don't work very hard, or they don't try to reach for excellence.
Mm,
What they do, they try to hunt easy fish
mm,
and eat and live their life. But there was one mad seagull, and that is Jonathan Livingston Seagull,
mm,
and he decided कि नहीं मैं उड़ूंगा.
mm,
And so he started uh, flying really high, taking a sudden dive, then turning, trying tricks which no other seagull tried before. And all the seagulls would say कि ये तो पागल है, ये पागल हो गया है, ये तो उड़ता रहता है, किसी दिन ये ऐसे गिरते हुए सीधा जमीन से क्रैश होगा, मर जाएगा. But he was able to achieve excellence. He was able to learn to fly in certain way, which other seagulls did not. And the younger seagulls noticed him, and they went to him and they said, "Teach us." And he taught them and explored together. So I think design education, if can take inspiration from Jonathan Livingston Seagull, I think my seagull is Papia Banerjee.
wow.
I saw Papia's freedom, the joy she had when she was teaching us. हमारे लिए उस क्लासरूम से बाहर कुछ एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता था.
Mm,
जब हम पापिया के क्लास में, तो क्लासरूम इज द होल वर्ल्ड. और जब हम क्लास से बाहर है ना, व्हेन पापिया's class has got over, she would say the whole world is your classroom. So जब पापिया की क्लास के बाद पूरी दुनिया मेरा क्लासरूम है, एक ही मॉड्यूल है पापिया का, डिजाइन मॉड्यूल. No other module existed for me. I bunked all my other classes. I only went to Papia Banerjee's design classes. और वो 24 घंटा हम उसमें रहते थे. Me and my gang from my class, my classmates. So we used to only focus on this. I'm not saying that others should do that. Don't bunk your classes, because I had to. I learned that after 4 years that technical subjects which are very boring are also necessary for me. And then I went and spent more time to study them. But Papia was my Jonathan Livingston Seagull, who showed me that there is a world beyond what you see,
mm,
and there is a world beyond what they said that how it is done.
mm,
ऐसे ही होता है, कुछ भी कैसे ही नहीं होता है. अगर so me and my father, my parents support me for everything. Both. My father is such a strong man. He gives me so much strength. But he has a conventional personality type. So sometimes he says कि ऐसे ही होता है, and I freak out, and I'm like, when you say the sentence, it kills me. Like, you're my father, you cannot say ऐसे ही होता है, कुछ भी कैसे नहीं होता है। मतलब कहीं होता होगा, पर हमेशा तो नहीं हो सकता है ऐसा। और ऐसा कुछ यूनिवर्सल, जब आप कहते हो कुछ ऐसा ही होता है, तो वो आप यूनिवर्सल लॉ की तरह बोल रहे हो, ऐसा ही होता है। जबकि एज अ डिजाइनर, आई बिलीव देर आर मल्टीपल वेज फॉर समथिंग टू हैपन। सो कन्वेंशन इज समथिंग वन हैज टू डिनाई, एंड दैट ऐसा ही होता है। जो your environment brings in front of you, there's a world beyond your environment. And that is Jonathan Livingston Seagull, the stories telling. That is what Papia was telling, and that is what I'm trying to tell the younger generation, even the older generation, if they want to learn from me. Some of the people who are senior to us, but I'm sure they have more insights, and I'm sure when I reach their age, I may also change my perception than what it is today. But I would also say that let's not hold on to everything. Let's understand past, let's understand history, but let's not recreate and redo what has happened
Yeah.
the same way. Use, let's not use it as a template. Let's learn from it and do something new, but let's not use it as a template कि नहीं ये ऐसे हुआ तो ऐसे ही होगा, तो ऐसे ही होता है या ऐसे ही होना चाहिए। This have to जहां पर आ जाता है, um, that cuts down possibilities कि have to or this is how it is done, cuts down possibilities। मतलब there is no other way। I refuse to believe that।
I
So let's use this topic for our further,
For the next one, yeah.
episodes.
Yes, and thank you so much, Prateek. This was amazing. Thank you for being the first guest, and I would love to continue this. I think a bigger community is waiting for us. It's
Yeah,
just a start, and I feel like a lot of people would keep uh, keep on wanting to join, wanting to see what the designers, at least right now, 2026, are thinking or are trying to build. Um,
absolutely.
Let me stop recording there.
Yeah.
Um,